I have a couple questions from people that have my products that I'm trying to sort of answer all at once here. And the first thing I thought is I have a new t-shirt, and if I was going to give somebody one answer, it's my new catchphrase: stop thinking and come to your senses, which means a lot of the questions that you have, that I have, that we all have, are our conscious mind, which can't really swing a club, can kind of have feed some information to our body. If we learn some information, we can kind of go, try this, try that. But when you get into the realm of trying to understand what exactly, say, is my hand doing here, or those kinds of questions, the danger is then you try to consciously control your motion. And you really need to, your motion, well, first of all, control might be a bad word from the get-go. So you need to have a goal, a target, a feel, a thing you're going for. With the E-bell, you basically, just swinging it over some time, you will intuitively fall into a good swing motion if you're just doing a couple small things. And I think I've sort of arrived at least right now, that there's a particular feel that I think is effective for me, and apparently Theresa thought it worked really well for her too, is to feel that you're tossing it up and throwing it through. So a lot of people describe the swing motion as a throw, and the reason for that is a hit sort of goes there and a throw goes there. So when you think of a throw, it moves your focus more to the target, so you sort of in the swing collect the ball and send it to the target. When you're going at the ball, that's where you get this sort of over the top move, and you get sort of, if you're imagining, if I'm just trying to hit the ball, well, to where is it going, right? You've lost the idea of what you're trying to do. So with this, you don't want to have any of this, basically. So that's how we're controlling the club face, by controlling the relationship of the arms. Open face, closed face, face square to path, and face square to path. If you can move the face square to path, the only really goal is, where do I land it? Do I need to be this way, forward, back? Find your spot, how bent over. Once you've got that motion, you leave the motion alone and move your body to the right place. So that's it. Toss it back, throw it through, find your location, be neutral with your hands, because as soon as you get a club, you have this opportunity to start fixing the face, which will both slow you down and add all sorts of weird shapes, potentially, to your shot. So those are the basic things. Now, moving on to the question I had from Theresa, is she felt like she was training with this, she felt like she needed to swing back really fast, and that's what she was supposed to do. And then she just discovered the feeling, I'm going to say, of not swinging fast for her suddenly synced everything up. And so I'm going to say two things about that. First, you can't really tell time with your body exactly. What we think of as fast and slow, sort of in terms of actual passing of milliseconds, is deceptive. What will feel fast in a swing is that you're in a hurry. And where a person gets in a hurry is usually in the transition of the swing. And the reason they're in a hurry is because if you don't put enough, if you are lifting the club all the way up, you are moving muscular force this way, right? Everything's compressing. Those two things are both bad, right? If you're, instead of being extended, you're compressed, obviously you're a little compressed, then you've got to sort of re-extend. You've got a bunch of slack to get rid of coming back. So the way that now I don't know which swing was faster, maybe the one was faster than the other, but fast isn't really quite the idea. The idea is you want to swing everything, right? So you're using a lot of energy because you're not swinging this, and you're not swinging your arms independently of your body. You're swinging all of this, even your chest, everything. You're swinging all of this mass up, and you're putting enough energy that all of that comes up and terminates up here, so that you have, as soon as you put enough energy into it, you have all this time to prepare yourself for getting ready to turn around and then throw through the thing. So the sensation of being quite a bit slower, and you'll feel this as soon as you start putting enough energy, you're going to feel like there's so much more time here to solve the equation of coming back and going through the ball. If you are lifting up and then trying to do it, and then trying to, even worse, do that faster, it's not going to work. So it's a toss or a throw or a heave up, whatever word works for you. Heave is sort of more heavy, sitting basically back. As part of that move, you're going to land back because you've thrown a lot of mass this way. You'll instinctively go that way. You're in the perfect spot, hopefully, and you throw through. So in terms of finding locations, a lot of that is just, if you put energy, the club goes on plane. If you try to find plane, good luck, right? So your body will find its own solution if you go there, and then you just feel, am I in the right place to move through the ball there? So that's the first one. It doesn't have to be fast. It has to be very energetic. And you'll go watch tour pros. Some of them are very, very quick. So a lot of them put enough energy that they're getting also a giant stretch that they're turning around. But I would say for a lot of golfers, you're going to get enough energy, especially as you get older and muscular force isn't going to work for you. If you just collect plenty of mass, let it fall, and then go with it. So work with gravity, don't fight it. Then there was a question about this. So get the feel from the E-bell. This sort of translates the structure into hitting balls. So your hands are still sort of split like on the bell. You want this relationship to be horizontal relative to the face here. And you're still doing this toss up and throw through. If you have a habit of doing something to get to the ball like that, this thing will be really hard to hit until you learn to move everything through. Then suddenly you'll start hitting much more solid, nice shots with more control as well, because you haven't sort of stalled and let things go where they will. So someone was asking me about training with this, and it's hard, and should I hit partial shots? I would say, yeah, partial shots are fine. What you want to be, again, conscious of is it's always really the application of a few forces creates all the shapes, positions, all those kinds of things. You don't have to do a lot if you do a few things right. So even on a small shot, the feeling should be, if I want a half shot, I should toss that much energy, throw to target. So I want to toss just enough and throw to target. Once you get used to this thing, it's surprisingly easy. When you're unwinding your habits of adjustment and compensation, it will feel very strange. But then it won't anymore. Then you, gosh, the golf swing is way more simple than I thought it was. There's almost nothing happening. I'm doing this on an angle with some of this. So you can then, and you can work on this. You don't ever have to do full swings, but if you want to, a full swing motion is then really just starting there and hinging up and then unwinding that. So this relationship doesn't change. Try to do one here. It's just the same. And you should be able to get, if you're going for a full swing motion, 80% of your normal shot distance with this handle on there. So it's going to slow to some extent this release, but you pick up a lot of that speed then by rotating, and there is still this release motion, right? I'm not changing this. I'm letting this hand pass the other hand. So the hands are passing each other. So that passing relationship stays the same. I'm trying to think if there was any other questions. I think that's kind of it. So again, you get the feel of this and then translate it into a club. And notice what is different when you pick up than a club. Am I still doing, so most people will have a habit of doing this, and so they'll pick up a club even when they just trained with that, then they'll go this way, right? It's not what we're doing. This way to this way. So this structure is what you're moving. So move that structure right through it. That's the feeling you want. So once you get that, you're going to start to gain a lot of control because you don't have things that you're putting in and taking out. But at the same time, I hope, the person said, I hope I'm using them the right way. I don't think there's a lot of wrong ways to do it. If you figure out how to hit the shot well with the wing on there, control your direction and stuff, you're learning good things. You will struggle to hit anything well if you're not doing a few mechanical things in an efficient way. So that's the answer to that. So there is a trial and error. Your body is figuring it out. Your body will at first probably not be able to figure out. So you might be able to say, okay, I can hit this thing, but I can't get any power on it, right? So then it's like, okay, now I want to still hit it and get power. You'll figure out like, okay, I got to really power this with my body. I can't power this with this sort of arm motion. I've got to ramp it up by going at it that way. So you leave the motion alone, but then you just speed up the motion that way. So you hit it hard laterally or something, and you can see that's close to 100 with a pitching wedge. So it goes pretty good once you figure it out. So that's what I mostly have to say. Number one answer is stop thinking. So tune in to your feel sense, your intuitive sense, your unconscious mind. Let that take over. Don't direct your motions with your conscious mind. Observe them. Feel what it is to toss it back and throw it through. Synchronize yourself with your tool, right? So the E-bell is a big, heavy tool, so you have to synchronize with gravity. But this is light, and you can ignore gravity and do your own thing. But once you start synchronizing with what the tool does, what nature wants to happen with this, its center of mass, how fast it swings, all those things, get yourself in sync with that, you can use a lot less energy and produce nice results.